Okay, Joe. We just cut up our taters and put whatever spice stuff we wanted in there. And Tara's getting some kind of warm water. It doesn't, you can boil it if you want to. We're not cooking our taters first. We're just putting the water in there. And she's gonna fill up the jars up to the neck like you're supposed to. You can see we have about that much room in there. When we get all of these full, I'll give you the next part. Okay, and my pressure canner book tells me to put 2 or 3 inches of water in here, so I'm going to show you doing it. You ready? With the fancy new sink, isn't that nice? All right, so we got about 1 inch. 1.5 inches. Let's say 2 right in there. I'm gonna let it get just a pinch more and boom. Now, this is the one thing I am sure of. After we put our jars into this to heat it up and stuff, the water in here, after we put the jars in, cannot go any higher than about that line. It needs space from there up.
1 inch.
Yeah. Not just for the jars, but I mean for the pressure in here. I'll show you more in just a minute. Okay, Tara's using some vinegar and wiping our little spot off for the lid to go on. Beautiful. So clean. Get all that stuff off of there so they'll seal real good. My wife's pretty hot. All right, sorry. I'm right in the way, but man, we're getting good video footage. All right, so getting our lids on here. Okay, get out of the way over here for a minute. Get them babies all capped up. Everything getting a good coating. Now I'll show you what I mean here. So we got 2 to 3 inches we put in this thing before we put our jars in there. Now we're going to put all our jars in, and you see the water keeps rising. Mine only holds 4 of these quarts, so I'm going to put all 4 quarts in there and see where the water is at the end here. Okay. Now, the book on this thing says it does not need to be more than 2/3 full. Okay, and I'm telling you, it is right at 2/3 now. Okay, so if you could see this jar, that water's coming up to about right here on the inside. If you cut this damn pot into 3 parts, then you got 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. Does that make sense? So, that 2.5 inches or something like that filled it up just right. We're gonna call that good. All right, now I'm gonna put the lid on real quick and then I'll show you some more. Put it on high. Okay, Joe, we put our lid on. Put it on high. We're fixing to let it start doing its thing. Now, I will tell you before I put it on, this little thing right here, which is where you put your weight for mine. It's gonna vent out of there, but they told me to hold it up to the light like this and make sure I could see the light through that little hole. And mine was clear, so I know it's safe. So, now that it's safe, we got it all sealed down. We're gonna start building our pressure, and we're gonna let this thing steam on out of there pretty good before we do anything. And when it gets some pressure on it and it starts steaming a little bit, I'll come back on. I'm done with the sink, baby. All right, so we're waiting on that thing to start steaming. When it does start steaming, I have to give it 10 minutes to steam like that. And then I will put it where this number 15 is, because 15 is my weight. I'm just gonna stick that slide it right over the top of my hooter here. See, it'll go right there when it's time. It'll just sit right on it. But first, this guy right here has to steam, and it has to steam for 10 minutes before I even put the weight on it. So, to be continued. Okay, Joe. We got like 10 minutes now we got to wait. It just started doing this right now. So we put our timer on the stove there for 10 minutes. And when that 10 minutes is over, we are going to put that 15 weight on top of this thing that's spewing the steam. Then we've got to get this guy built up to pressure, which is going to be 15 also. And once it gets 15, we got to control our stove. Back it off a little bit. Right now it's on high, but we'll have to back it off a little bit until the dang thing stays steady at the 15, and we'll cook it like that for 40 minutes. And that's the plan right now. I'll come back to you when we put the weight on. Okay, it's still steaming. I want to show you something though. Look, see, we don't see anything half the time. It's just now starting to show a little water vapor off and on, but it's been steaming now for 5 minutes. And if you look at our gauge, it's building even with the steamer open like that before the weight's on it. So we're about 5 minutes away from putting the weight on. Both of us are camped out here. Let's see. This is what we're doing right now. We both got our chairs pulled up. This is for serious stuff, so to be continued. Okay, we're at the last 30 seconds of our 10 minutes now, Laura. This thing has been sitting here steaming now for almost 10 minutes. And you can see you probably can't see, but look, up above it you can now. It's finally got all the air out of the system and the water's kind of floating up there. All right. Now Tara's going to put our 15-pound weight on. There you go. Did it burn you?
No. I'm
all
going
right.
to turn it down.
Okay, now we got to watch this gauge here, see? We've got to adjust our heat down here to where that thing goes to the 15 pounds, and we got to do it for 40 minutes. I think you need to cut it up. Once that gauge hits 15, we get it about where it'll kind of settle down at 15. We're going to put 40 minutes on our timer here, and we will go from there. And the reason we're putting our weight at 15 is because our elevation is between 1,000 and 2,000. I wrote it down in my little book. You can Google Junction, it'll tell you the elevation. And at our elevation here in Junction, Texas, Kimball County, it's got to be at 15 on the weighted deal. So it's looking like about 3:40 this pot will be done cooking, because we're 1 minute away from 3 o'clock, and it's about to hit that dadgum 15 mark. Okay, we are at 15.
Should I go down a little bit?
Just
so it doesn't keep
just a pinch, just a pinch, and we'll watch it. If it keeps trying to creep on up, then we know what's going on. Go ahead. Okay, now 40 minutes, and we've just got to make sure it stays at 15. Once we settle that guy in, we're good. We'll be back in 40 minutes and let you see how this thing works out. Okay, our 40 minutes is now up. So we're going to turn the heat off. We're going to gently, with some mats, no baby, not there, grab the pot. We're gonna slide that guy over gently, get it off of the heat. That'll work. It says don't grab it by the lid. That's why I said that. It's not good. Okay, so that 15 pounds of pressure that we got right there, now we have to let that go all the way down to 0. Once it's all the way down to 0, we will remove the weight. Once we have removed the weight, we will wait for 2 minutes, and then we'll unscrew the lid and we'll take it off. And we'll be back after it gets down to 0. Okay, it's 4:18 and this dude just finally reached 0 on the pressure gauge. So now Tara, with an oven mitt, is going to take the weight off. And now we wait 2 more minutes and then we can twist off these little hooters holding the lid on, and we'll take it off and see how it all went. So, lots of time involved. Time to remove the lid. Are they hot or what?
They're not scalding, but I don't know if I have this strong.
Okay, then you're gonna cut the video and I'll break them loose. Alright, because I put the you-know-what on there. And apparently I did a good job.
I told you your finger tight, or your tight is harder than everybody else's.
Yeah. I did it on purpose. This stuff makes me kind of nervous. But at least you know you're safe when it's tight like that. Sheesh. Alright, now that those are loose, I'm going to open it away so the steam doesn't burn my beautiful face. Beautiful. Watch out, Asen.
Asen, come over here with Mammy for just a second.
Papa's going to set this right here because it's still hot and I don't want it to cool down too fast. So, alright, Mama, your hooter for your jars. Let's see what we got. It looks steamy. Alright. Here we go.
It smells good.
It does smell good. Remember we were talking about the smell? We're like, I smell it. It smells pretty darn good. Yep, I bet they taste pretty darn good too. Just like
kind of go sideways and get that water off the top. And then you don't have to, but yeah.
What was I gonna say? Sorry. The pickles you made a week or so ago, they were pretty good. Just need a little tiny bit more dill and salt.
Asen, quit.
Who'd have thought too about a zucchini instead of cucumbers? They were good. All right, so that's the process. Took till 4:20 to get to here. Now it's time for round 2.